Hello and welcome to Developers Den by Newton School. I am Shum Kumar, I am a front-end developer, and in today's video we are going to continue our cloning series for Dunzo. I am assuming that you are coding along with me in the previous video and so far you have created the header section for the Dunzo application. Now in this video we are going to continue our coding series in which we will clone the main fold section in which you see the order cards, you see the category details and everything. So let's get started with the coding part, and by the end of this video a majority part of the coding will be done, and by the end of the next video we'll have a fully ready Dunzo clone for our resume. So let's get started.
So this is where we are right now in our code base. We have a header already created with a great subtle background, just like how Dunzo has created it. So let's get started with the main fold that we are building right now. So the main fold here has just a one strip, as you can see, and it has a subtle background, which is a slightly lighter shade of green. So let's get started with the main fold. I'll close the header file here. I'll close the app downloaded and I'll go to main folds index.js file. I'll close this file structure since I don't need it. And inside my main fold, let's examine the main fold for the Dunzo's website first. We have a main fold div. This is the main div that we need. Then we have a strip. Next to the strip, we need this particular thing, which we can say this is the main fold main part, which has a background color. And in the main part, we have this location, we have the city's name, we have some description from Dunzo, and then we have order cards, and then we have some category cards. So these are the kind of things that we are going to build right now. Let's get started with the very first thing, which is our container. So what the general class structure that I follow is to give it a class name of the file itself. So the first class will be main fold, and inside my main fold I will create a top strip file. So I'll just call this as top strip. So I'll give it a class name of top strip, which is top strip. And if I'll save this and if I'll go here, I'll refresh this, you can see this is the top strip that we have. Next to our top strip, we again need a div, which will be our main fold main. I'll remove this text later on when we'll go to this main fold main section. So for the top strip, what is there in top strip? If you will examine this Dunzo's website, you can see there is a left part again and a right part. Right part, there is just one text and a chevron icon. In the left part, we have our Dunzo's own SVG icon and some text here. So we can do something here is div. Now this particular div inside the top strip div is of maximum width of 1024 pixel. So in the previous video, if you have remember, we declared a common class called max width. So this will automatically take a maximum width of 1025 pixel and it will automatically center itself. So next to this, I also want it to be a flex, and I'll give it its own class, which is a strip inner. So the inner part of the strip, this particular part from here till here, this is the inner part of my strip. So next to the inner part of the strip, I want one more div, which is our inner left, and also let's give it a class name of flex as well, because everything inside this I want to be in a flex direction. So inside this, I again have two things. One is this particular image and one is this text. So I'll say div. And why I don't just use an image directly here, because you can see there is a subtle background, a grayish background behind this image. So for that I need a div, which I will style later. So for this, I'll give it a class name of pan image background, because this is the image of a pan. So I'll say pan image background just by bg. Then I want it to be center, so I'll say flex and absolute center. So if you're watching this video, this second video first, I must tell you that go back and watch the first video if you are getting confused about this flex and absolute center, where these classes are coming from. So pan image background, will style this later. So I'll write this tag image, and for the source, I'll just copy this source. I'll click on this, I'll copy image address from here, and I'll paste it inside the source, and I'll save this. So inside our own website, you can see this is the pan image that we have, but this is not styled yet. So also we need one more thing here. We need an alt text, because otherwise it will give us a warning. So what is alt text? Suppose for some reason your image is not loading, so this text will be shown to the user. Pan illustration, and next to this pan illustration, I also want a height is of 32 and width is also of 32. Now you must be wondering that where I got this random value of 32. Well, I checked the designs of Dunzo's website by opening the inspect element. You can do the same. And next to this, I want it to have a class name of pan image so that I can style it. So I'll go quickly to the CSS file, and I'll style these 3-4 classes that I just wrote. So inside my mainfold.css, the very first thing that I have is mainfold. So inside my main fold, if you'll notice, there is a background color of green. So what I'll do is I'll copy this green color and I'll store this green color inside a variable. So this is the main, and this is the main section that we have here. I have to copy the background color. So where can I get the background color? Where can I get the background color? Here it is. So it's a shade of green actually. So I'll just copy this, and inside my variable folder, I'll just go to variables.css. So if you don't know why I have created variables.css, do watch the previous video. I'm repeating again. Then only you will understand what I'm doing here. So inside this, I'll say background green, right? So where is my background green? So for this, I'll write a variable name, which is light green. So for this, I don't want the RGB color. I'll just go click on this and I'll change this to hex color, and I'll copy the hex color from here. So I'll say here as light green, light green. So now if I paste this, you can see this is the light green color that I had. Now if I'll go to my mainfold.css, I'll say background color, and inside the background color, I'll say give the background color to be of variable light green, this light green. I'll save this, and inside my own website, you can see there is a subtle shade of green now. Also, along with green, we also need one more color. If you'll see, this particular strip is of different color, so I'll just quickly copy this color. So you can see this is the linear gradient that we need. So what I'll do, again, I'll go to my variables. Here I'll say dark gradient bg, dark blue bg gradient. You can use any variable name that you want. I find this to be very suitable, so I'll copy this, and inside my main fold, next to my main fold, I have the top strip class. Top strip is the first div inside main fold, which is the top strip for the pan image that you are seeing. And for background, I'll just paste this, where, and I'll paste this. And if I'll save this, you can see we have the same top strip color as Dunzo's website. Now next to this, I'll style the inner file. So for inner file, give me a moment, I'll just close this particular thing. Perfect. So just leave it. And inside my inner file, where was I? Here. So inside my inner file, we can start with the strip inner. In the strip inner, I can say that the height of my strip should be of 44 pixel. I looked at the height for this 44 pixel value on Dunzo's website. You can check it on your own as well. Now, if you'll remember, along with the strip inner, we also gave it a class name of flex. Here, strip inner, it is also having a class name of flex. So along with flex, I want all the items to be at center, but vertically, but horizontally, I want all the items to be at extreme ends. So I'll say space between. Now if I'll save this and if I'll refresh this, you won't see any change because there is nothing on the right side of the flex, but this will work for us. Now for inner left, I just want all the things to be vertically center. Now for pan image background, I want pan image bg. Now for pan image background, I want this gray background to be here. If you'll see, there is a gray background. So I'll copy this value of gray background from this div, this particular div. You can see this is the div that I want. So I'll just copy this value from here, and or you can just copy the hex value by changing it to this point and copy this. And now I'll go to my variables, and here I'll say white transparent, and I'll paste this. So this is the variable for my white transparent, and inside my pan image, I'll say background color to be of white transparent, where white transparent. Now if you'll see here in our own file, you can see this is the white transparent background. I just have to make it a circular. So I'll say, now if you want to circle any div, you just have to give a border radius of 50% and your work is done. It's circular now. Now also, if you'll see, this image is this pan image is a little at the top on Dunzo's website, so we can give it a negative margin. It will work. But along with this, I'll have to give this other properties such as height of 24 pixel, width of 24 pixel, so that it's a perfect square. Then apart from this, I want it to have a margin top of 4 pixel from the top, and finally a margin right of margin right of let us say 16 pixel, so that there is some gap between the this text and the image on our own website when I'll write it. Now for pan image, actual image, we'll say pan image. For pan image, I can say margin top of minus 10 pixel. Now negative values will take it in the reverse direction of whatever margin you are giving. So this will take it to further top. Now if I'll save this and I'll show you, you can see this is on further top. Also I want some margin from left, so I will say margin left of 2 pixel. This will work. Now perfect, this image is exactly now like how we wanted it to be. So next to our pan image, let's get to the code for the index.js file, and let's get started with the next part of this main fold strip that we are creating. So next to the image we will have a order text. So I'll get out of this particular class and I'll create a div called order text. So I'll give it a class name of order text. So here I'll write order pan items order. I'll just copy this text from here, or I'll make some mistakes. So I'll just copy this text from here and I'll paste it. If I'll save this, you can see this text is here, but it's in black color. So I'll obviously change the style for this. So I'll go to my styles folder, and for my order text, what I'll do is order text. What I'll do, I'll change the colors. I'll change everything for the styles for this order text. First of all, I'll say that change the color to be not columns. Change the color to be variable white. Now if you'll see, this text is more visible, but it's a little lighter than the actual Dunzo's text. Just that's because we haven't given a font weight. I want it to have a font weight of 600. Perfect. Now you can see both of these are looking exactly same. So next to this order text that we had, let's start with the right side part, which is download Dunzo app now. So first of all, I'll copy this text here and I'll go to my code base. In my index file, I'll close this part. In my index file, next to this div, I'll create the right part of my strip. So I'll say div, and inside this div, let's give it some class names. First of all, I want it to be of cursor pointer because this is clickable. Now 𝐏𝐚𝐲 again is a common class that I created in the first video, along with flex and along with absolute center. So you must be seeing how useful these common classes are as far as we are coding right now. And let's give it its own class, which is strip download. Now inside the strip download, I'll paste this text, and if you'll see, here is the download Dunzo app now. I will change the color, we'll change the font, everything, but before that, what we will do is we will again copy the chevron right icon, and I'll change the color for the icon right now 00B37A. Again, a huge shout out to the creator of tabular icons because it's really useful whenever we need it. So the size that I want is of 20 pixel, and I want right chevron right. So where is chevron right? This is chevron right. I have copied it. Next to this, I'll just paste it. So perfect. Now if I'll go to my code here, you can see this is the chevron right that we had, and I just have to center it vertically. It's not vertically centered. It's slightly upwards. So what I'll do is I'll create a div. I'll give it a class name of flex and absolute center, so that it is centered both horizontally and vertically. Absolute center. So I have written this value for absolute center and flex in my common classes file here. You can see flex as display flex, justify center, align items. These properties are being applied to whatever I am writing, this flex and absolute center. So I'll remove this SVG from here. I'll paste it here inside my div. And now if I'll save it, it's vertically centered. So next to this, I'll just style this text, which is download Dunzo app right now. So I'll go to my mainfold.css, and inside my mainfold.css file, I will write the CSS for my strip download, which is strip download. Now again, this is a different shade of green here. If you'll notice, this is a different shade of green. So I'll copy the value of green from Dunzo's website, which is 00B37A. So I'll go to my variables file, and here I'll say green is hashtag 00B3 7a. I'll save this. I'll again come to my mainfold.css file, and in my mainfold CSS file for strip download, I'll say color as, not counter reset, I'll say color as variable green, just green. Now you can see on our own website this is as of the same color, but we just want it to be a little bolder. So what I will do is I will say font weight to be of 600. Perfect. Now this is how it exactly looks. So my top strip is also completed. Next to my top strip, let's get started with the mainfold main section. So inside my mainfold main section, in my index.js file, here let's minimize this particular top strip div. Now in my mainfold main section, this will contain the location, this will contain the uh, cards that we have and everything, the description as well. So first of all, we'll start with the location div. So first, before this, I'll give this a class name of mainfold main. Inside my mainfold main, I'll start with the location component. So I'll say div, and inside this div, I'll give this a class name of mainfold location, mainfold location. So mainfold location. Perfect. So if you'll notice, we are creating this particular thing right now. There is uh, a home, which is also known as breadcrumbs in many places, but here it's just the location. It's home, then an arrow, and then the city's name. So for the mainfold location, first of all, before this, I want it to be flex, and also I want it to have a maximum width of 1024 pixels, so that it is aligned to this logo, aligned to this image and everything. So this particular class will do max width. Now you can check the common files for what this class is doing. I told this in the first video itself. Now next to this max width, I'll have a div here. Now this div will just have the text home, and I'll give this a class name of mainfold address1, mainfold address1. Now if I'll save this, why address1? Because there are two addresses, this city and this home. So the other one will be address2. But before address2, I have something else here, which is an arrow. So for this, again, I'll go to tabular icons and I'll search for an arrow here. Arrow. Now, but the color is not green, it's a slight shade of gray. You can copy the hex code from here and paste it here. So the hex code that I'm going to use is C9 CDD8. You can check for this hex code on the website itself, and the font size that I'll be using is of 16 pixel, and I'll be using which icon, if the screen is visible to you, it's very light actually. So arrow right, I'll just write it like this, arrow right, this particular icon I'll use. So I'll paste it here, I'll save this, and I'll give it a class name of flex absolute center, so that it is automatically centered, and also in class name of location arrow, so that I can style it myself. Now next to my home, next to this icon, we also need one more div where I'm just writing Mumbai, which is the city's name. Now I'll give this a class name of mainfold address2, mainfold address2. Now if I'll save this, if I'll go here, you can see home arrow Mumbai. This is there, but it is looking very different from this particular style here. I'll go to my style file, which is mainfold.css, and I'll style this part. So to style this, I'll start with mainfold.location, which is .mainfold hyphen location. And now for my location, I want it to have some padding, because if you'll see, there is some padding between the top strip and this text. So here I'll say give it some padding, not pad, give it some padding. So from top and bottom, I want it to have a padding of 32 pixel, but from left and right, I don't want it to have any padding, so it will be 0. Similarly, the text, I want it to have a weight of 600, and I want the font size to be of 12 pixel. By default, it is of 14 pixel. So now if I'll save it, and you can see the font size and the padding, everything is matching except for a few things which I'll write right now, the color and everything. So the first mainfold address1, which is the home text address1, I wanted to have a color of, not counter reset, I wanted to have a color of where green. Now if I'll save this, you can see this home is different from this home. Font weight, I don't think this is applied. Font weight, now it's applied. Yep, it's darker. And next to this, apart from this address 1, for address 2, I just copy this, I'll paste it here. Address 2, you can see that the this is bolder, but here it is much lighter. So I'll just copy the hex code of this lighter color. The hex code for this is 171E30. So if I'll go here, 171E30 is not defined. So I'll say this as text light, LIGST. It is hashtag 171E30. I'll save this. This is a other shade of black. So here, instead of green, I'll say text light. Perfect. Now if I'll save this, if I'll go here, it's still a different shade of black. What we can do is we can reduce the opacity to be smaller than half, so it's slightly visible. Perfect. Now it's looking exactly like Dunzo's website. So next to this, I need to style this arrows to give it some margin and some spacing. So for this location arrow, I'll say location arrow. I want it to have a margin of 0 pixel from top and bottom, but 4 pixel from left and right. So now it looks exactly like this particular div, this particular style here. Perfect. Now we can start with this text Mumbai, this description. So for this, I'll go to my code, which is index.js inside the main fold. And next to our Mumbai text that we had here, let's create main fold info section. So this was Mumbai. Here we'll create another div, and inside let's give it a class name of mainfold info, because you can see there is just information about Dunzo and which city we are in. And also I wanted to have a max width because I wanted to align with other things as well. See, you can see these all are aligned, so I want to keep it aligned, so I am giving it a class of max width. Now apart from this, inside this, first of all we have a name of the city, so we'll create a div and we'll say Mumbai, and I'll give this a class name of mainfold city. You can see the class nomenclature that I'm following. You can follow your own, you can follow the BEM nomenclature, or you can follow any nomenclature, but just stick to it. Don't just write any random gibberish class names, because it will be very difficult for you to understand what you have written if you are going to read your code few weeks from now, or let's say next year, or some other developer is going to read your code. So make sure you are writing good class names. So for the next description, I'm going to give it a class name of main fold description, and I'll just copy this entire description from here. Why step out when you can get food and everything? And I'll paste it here. I'll save this. As you can see, we have the main fold city, we have the main fold description. I'll quickly go to our website to show you how it looks like right now. So this looks like this. I'll style it in a moment so that we can match it with the Dunzo's actual website. So inside my mainfold.css, here what I will do is for mainfold info, so for mainfold info, I want some padding from the bottom because there is some gap between these two. So I'll say padding bottom. I want it to have 48 pixel of padding from bottom. Now you must be thinking, why just some random value? Because I checked it from Dunzo's own website. You can verify it from there as well. Now for mainfold city, the city text we have, it's quite large, so I wanted to have a font size of 36 pixel, and I wanted to have a font weight of 600. So font weight of 600. Now if you'll see, this is looking a little better. Also there needs to be some space and everything between this, so I'll say margin bottom of 16 pixel. Perfect. Now let's style the description that we have, so which is main fold description. So for main fold description, I want the font size to be of 16 pixel, which is by default. Then I want it to be a little bolder, but not much bolder. So I'll just give it a semi-bold font weight, which is 500. I'll change this to font weight to 500. Next to this, I want it to have a line height. Line height means the height between two different lines. So I want it to be of 24 pixel. And then finally, I want to change the color to be of light text, which is text gray. So you can see the text gray color that I'm keeping. I'll just copy it from here. So the text gray color is 6 7. From here I'll just go to this point, I'll change it to hex value, I'll copy it from here, I'll go to my variables file, and here I'll say text gray, and I'll paste it. That's it, done. Now inside my main.css, I'll say text gray. Now if I'll save it and if I'll go to my own website, you can see this is looking exactly like Dunzo's own website. I'll close this inspect so that you can see better. Perfect. Now that this info section is completed, we have to create this cards component, order cards. But before creating the order cards, we need some kind of data. Now what kind of data we need? We have to create an array here. So what we will do, inside our common folder, I will create one more folder called data. So I'll create a folder called data. Now inside my data, I'll create an index.js. So basically what happens on Dunzo's website, Dunzo gets all this data from their backend API, but we are focusing on the front end part. We are focusing only on the UI section. So we are going to create all of this in mock data. Mock data means we are going to create fake data to show that we are using some backend API. So how do we create a mock data? We will create a array called, and we'll export it. We'll call it export const order cards data. Now this is an array that we are going to use. Just imagine that this is the API response from some backend API, and we are going to use this particular API, this array. So this array will contain objects. Now each object will contain an ID. Along with the ID, each object will contain a banner. So what is the banner? This is the banner. I'll copy the image address and I'll paste it here. That's it. So this is the kind of object that we'll be getting for each of this order card. So I'll copy this 3 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4. For next ID2, ID3, and finally ID4. So I'll copy this image address as well. I'll paste it here. I'll paste it here. Next, I'll copy this image address as well, and I'll paste it here. And next, I'll copy this image address as well, and I'll paste it here for the 4th order card that we have. Now imagine this array as a API response from our backend data. We are going to use this API response only inside our main fold order cards. So let's go to our main fold index file, and next to this description that we had, we will create another div, and in this div will contain all the order cards. So first of all, I'll give it a class name of order cards. Just focus on the name that I'm giving it, order cards. It's a plural, which means this will contain all the cards. Also, I wanted to have a maximum width of 1024 pixel, so I'm giving it a class name of max width, and I want everything to be in a flex direction, so flex. Now what I will do is, inside JSX, I'll write JavaScript. So I'll say order cards data, import it, and map through it. Now map is an iterator over an array inside JavaScript. You should read more about it here. So what you can do is map array JS. Just go to MDN docs, web3 school, anywhere, and read more about it. This is a great property to learn: map, filter, reduce, all of this. So what map does is it iterates through the array. It picks every element inside the array and then returns something, whatever we'll write here. So for every card that we have, you write it like this, we'll return an arrow function. For every card that we have, I want to return something. I want to return a div. Now what this div will return, this div will return an image. Now image, I'll close this, and for this I'll give it a source. Now what will be my source? My source will be this particular card, whatever card we are mapping through right now, card.banner, banner, save it. Now along with the source also I need an alt text, so I'll just keep it same, card.banner, card.banner. Perfect. Now we have card.banner. Now this div, I'll give it a class name as well. I'll give it a class name of order card container. Perfect. Now order card container is this, and I'll give it this a class name as well. This particular image, I'll give it a class name of 𝐏𝐚𝐲 because these cards are clickable. So I'll say 𝐏𝐚𝐲, and apart from this, I'll say order card container. Same class name will do here as well, because we are just going to give it a size. So perfect. Now if you look at our website, we have 4 images. We made some mistake while copying the URL. Groceries are copied 2 times, fruit and vegetables are copied once time. Pick up and drop is not copied. So I'll go to my data file, which is this place, and I'll replace this banner here. Perfect. Now you can see, yeah, we have 4 different images. I just have to style it. So to style it, what I will do, I will go to my main fold. You can just have a look at the class names that we have. Order cards is the entire container for all the cards. Order card container is the main image that we have. So we'll go to the mainfold.css, and inside this we will style our order card container first of all. So for that I'll say order cards. See, this is the plurals cards, which means the box which is going to contain all of my order cards. So for this, I first of all I want it to have a padding from the bottom, which will be of 24 pixel. Now this is already in a flex, having a flex property, since we gave it a class of flex as well. So I want it to have a justify content of space between. So which means that distribute everything evenly inside the div. And I want it to flex wrap. Now what is flex wrap? Which means if enough space is not available, just wrap to the next line, come to the next line. So now you can see this is coming to the next line. So next to order cards, let's start the style the container that we have, which is order cards, order card container. Now this will have first of all a box sizing of content box, so that my image is visible inside this. Next, a width of 244 pixel. Now again, this height of and width I have taken from Dunzo's website. Width of 244 pixel and a height of 180 pixel. And finally, I want it to be a little curved, so I'll say border radius of 8 pixel will do. Now if you'll see, this is how the cards are looking, and this is how they are looking on Dunzo's website. We are just ignoring this span item available here right now. It's not important that much, but you can see how beautifully we cloned the entire section, the main highlight of Dunzo's website, in just 3-4 lines. So this is the beauty of writing good CSS and using proper array, using proper functions such as map. So that's it. We are done with the order cards right now. Let's start developing the this items card. So I'm just calling it items card. You can call it anything that you want. So for items card, again we will be needing something of an API response. So I'll go to my index file in the data, and here I will create another array. So this array will be item types. So I'll say export const item types. Now inside my items types, so this will again be an array, and this will have three things. The first thing that it will have is of course an ID. Why do we need an ID? Because whenever we map something in a JavaScript, we should give it a key. So we can use this ID as the key. You can read more about key and virtual DOMs online. So for banner, what I will do is I'll copy this particular logo. So I'll say copy image address. I'll paste it here, and next to the banner, we have something called title. What is the title of the card and everything? So first one is meat and fish, right? So meat and fish. If I'll save this, you can see this is meat and fish. Next one is pet and supplies. I'll copy this, but before this, I'll just paste it 3 more times. 1, 2, and 3. So this is the second one. This is the third one that we have, and this one is finally the fourth one. So I'll copy this logo. I'll replace this. I'll copy this logo for pawn shop. You must be seeing that this logo and this logo is very similar, just the color difference is there. I'll replace this here, and finally I'll copy this store icon, and I'll replace the final banner that we have. That's it, done. And now I'll change the text. Pet supplies, pawn shops. So this is pet supplies. Supplies. Next we have is pawn shop, pawn shop, pawn shop, and finally we have any store in the city. Perfect. Any stores, store, any store in the city. Perfect. Now that we are done, we can similarly, like how we use these order cards, we can use these item types to iterate through the array and create our order cards. So create our item cards actually. So I'll go to my main fold file. So where is my main fold? Here. Inside my main fold, next to this div that we had, we'll create another div which will be very similar to the previous one. So we will have similar class names as well. I'll call it as items cards, item cards, items cards. Again, see, notice this is cards plural, so that this div will contain all the item card. So next I want it to be flex and max width, similar to the top one. Now inside this, iterate through the items that we have, and I'll say map, and for every item that we have I want to return something. So I want to return a div first of all. So this div will not div, this div will contain just an image. So you must be seeing there is a lot of similarity between these two things. So this is how coding works. You have to reuse your code most of the time. So for image, I want it to have a source of src, a source of item.banner. Whatever item we are getting here, just use its banner. And next to the image that we had, we also need one title, the text that we had. So I'll say div, and inside this, inside curly braces, I'll say item.title. Perfect. Now if you'll go to our own website, you can see meat and fish logo is there, everything is there. We just have to style it, but to style it I have to give it some class names. So the class name that I'll give it here is items.card, singular card, so because it is representing just one card. And I'll say 𝐏𝐚𝐲 because this is clickable. For image here as well, I'll say alternative text is just item.title. And for class name of this, I'll say uh, item cards banner. I'll say items card banner for this logo class. And for this title, we don't need any class because this is already styled like how we want. So, or we can just style this particular card, give it some font size, and it will be applied to this title. So let's go to the CSS file that we have here. And inside the CSS file, let's get started with the items cards. So, which is first of all items cards. This just needs one property, which is a padding from the bottom. So I'll say from the padding from the bottom, give it a padding of 48 pixel so that there is some space between this background's edge and the items cards that we have. Now for each of the individual item card that we have, first of all I want it to have padding. Now from padding, now from top I want it to have a padding of 20 pixel. From left I want it to have a padding of 16 pixel, and from bottom I want it to have a padding of 16 pixel. Now if I'll stop giving padding here, my right side, the left side will automatically take the right side's padding. So this is three-hand notation for padding. Now you can see there is some padding right now. If I'll give it some background color, it will be much more visible. So I'll give it a background color of backdrop filter, not, I'll say background color of white. So this is the white that we have. You can see there is some padding. Now it's all sticking together. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to give it some margin and everything. So next to this, let's give it some border radius so that it is curved 4 pixel. Next to this also we will have to give some shadow here. If you'll see, there is some shadow around these boxes. So I'll copy the shadow style. You can create your own shadow from internet as well. So I'll copy this box shadow and I'll say that this is card shadow. So inside my variable file, I'll paste it here. I'll say card shadow and done. So now inside my main.css, I'll say box shadow to be not sizing, box shadow to be a variable card shadow. Perfect. Now if you'll go to our own website, you can see there is some shadow now. We just have to give it some spacing between all the cards and we'll be done. But before this, let's fix the height and width of the component. So it will be 158 pixel, height will be 108 pixel, and then next to the height we want some space from the next card. So I'll say margin right of 16 pixel, and perfect. Now if you'll see, all these are separated. We just have to style this text and the logo. For the entire text inside this card, I want the font size to be of 12 pixel and the font weight to be of 600. Perfect. Now if you'll see meat and fish, pet supplies, all of these are small and bold. Now we'll just style the image. So to style the image, I'll say items, I'll say card, and then banner. For this banner, I want the height to be of 40 pixel and I want the width to be of similar. So I'll say width to be of 40 pixel, and finally a margin from the bottom. So I'll say margin from the bottom to be of 12 pixel. Perfect. Now our cards are done. You can see this is our website and this is Dunzo's website, which is looking very much similar. Now we just have to style these two components and the footer and we are good to go. So for this, I'll see you in the next video where we will just style this top picks for you section, the footer section, and this app download nudge. So stay tuned to Developers Den Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't, do like it, and if you have any doubts so far, if you have any requests that what should I make next, do comment it out and I'll help you for sure. So see you in the next video. Thank you, and thanks to Newton School for making this possible. Till then, bye.
A big thanks to Newton School for making this video possible. If you are into coding and if you want to learn development, do check out their platform. They have great programs to make you learn coding and development, and they also promise you a placement. So the link for the same will be in the description below.